It's an exciting time at WCCO. Next week marks 75 years on the air.
Over those years, we've been to some pretty incredible places to bring Minnesotans the news. Esme Murphy shows us where in the world WCCO has been.
Yeah, the Iron Crib. I still hear, Frank and Amelia, I still hear from people.
Even 34 years later, Don Shelby's trip to Romania is still making an impact.
160 children live here, infants to 3 years old. They've spent most of their lives in these rooms.
The story was called The Iron Crib, and it changed the lives of thousands of orphans.
Any of these babies would be wonderful. There's not one I've seen yet that I wouldn't want to take home.
Don followed several couples as they adopted children into a loving home in Minnesota.
And he wouldn't have been alive, he said, if it wasn't for our story.
We also brought viewers to the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989.
And a WCCO television news team is in Berlin tonight.
Reporter Tom Stewart and his team captured emotional reunions as Germany was reunified.
It's just been chaotic, and yet it's been wonderful because nothing seems to matter except what matters, that the wall has been opened.
Good morning, Vietnam!
In 1969, WCCO set out to document Minnesota soldiers fighting in the Vietnam War.
He is called Grunt. He is a combat soldier, the Marine in a line company.
We're Americans and they're Vietnamese, and we sort of work things a little bit different than they do, but other than that, we work fairly well together.
The award-winning documentary Grunt's Little War shared the gritty and sometimes strange realities of war. On several occasions, WCCO has embedded with the Minnesota National Guard. Don Shelby and photojournalist Tom Aviles traveled to Iraq in 2009.
And when would that be dated? Dated to 2048 BC.
And had the opportunity to visit one of the oldest standing artifacts on Earth.
We got to get down the mountain. Here we go, guys.
And just last year, Tom and Reg Chapman spent a week with the Minnesota National Guard on a training trip in Norway.
The reindeer meat is what I'm tasting, and it kind of gives me energy.
WCCO has also taken viewers to some of the biggest sporting events of our time.
And welcome to Wembley Stadium for the first National Football League game ever played on British soil.
In 1980, Mark Rosen witnessed history firsthand.
The 1980 Olympics will always top my list when I get asked all the time, what was the best event, greatest event you ever covered? I said, well, I was there for the Miracle on Ice.
Look at these people here. Everybody was for USA, and we finally did it.
The electricity in the air that night was unlike anything I had seen previously or since. I mean, it was, my ears were almost bleeding from the noise level.
30 years ago, a series of stories brought out smiles in children quite literally. We followed a Minnesota medical team to Venezuela for Operation Smile, an important mission to repair cleft lips and palates.
Before they were deformed, and later they're this whole person. It is the essence of rebirth.
These stories led to more than $200,000 in donations for more surgeries. Esme Murphy, WCCO News.
So happy we get to do that. And
I know, and help people
stories.
too.
Yeah.
Bring stories, and on top of that, helping them. So it's wonderful.
Indeed.
Well, tomorrow we're going to look at the evolution of TV news during our history and how that technology has changed. You can see more stories from the WCCO archive on our YouTube channel.